I just want to remind everybody that if you're generous with your time and effort in who you are as a person, other people are not taking away from you. And let me explain this. I think, like, we need to remember that the world is constantly growing, right? And if we imagine, so this is the way that was explained to me. It was like micro or macroeconomics, or no, it was international business or international economics. And I took this course many years ago. I was trying to double major in engineering and economics. No, I was trying to do during my master's program, and I was thinking of getting a economics degree at the same time when I was doing a master's program. I took a bunch of economics courses. I took a whole bunch of econ courses, whole bunch of sociology and econ courses. And I've learned about some psychology stuff during my PhD and stuff. But anyways, I digress. So in the macroeconomics course, it's kind of interesting thing, right? So if we imagine that the world is a fixed pie, right, and the pie has only a certain amount of slices, right? The pizza pie is, a 12-inch pie, and we divide it across everybody. Well, that means, with that particular perspective, that everybody's going to get a really tiny slice of the pie, and nobody's really going to enjoy anything, right? But if you have a long-term perspective, right, and over time you look at this, what you realize is that the pie is constantly growing, and it's growing at a spectacular rate. So a 12-inch pie, from, if you had a 12-inch pie from the 1970s, it would be like, I don't know what the sort of equivalent is in terms of growth, but, it would be like, a 1,000-inch pie today, right? Like if you look at, and that's where I want to sort of say, in terms just quantitatively, that the world is growing, right? And if the world is growing in the short term, yes, people can take away from you, and there's only so much that goes around, and people can politic in the short run, right? And they could do things that can, rob you of your generosity and who you are and all that kind of stuff. But in the long run, um, the world is becoming increasingly better. And if you look at almost all indicators, like virtually every indicator that I've ever seen, except for some recent ones in the recent years, life expectancy, for example, where people are, grappling with drug abuse and COVID and those kind of things that are having effects on lowering, economic progress or progress that we've made over the years. But for almost everything, if you remove those out of the situation, those two situations out, um, that things are just getting uniformly better, and they're getting better all the time. And so that means, and there's more economic prosperity and all these kind of things. So over the long run, what this means is that it's in your interest to be generous and to help out other people, to not worry about people stealing from you, in the sense that whatever you do, somebody else is taking away from you whenever you do that. And it does happen, right? And you're going to run across a lot of people that do that kind of stuff. But here's the thing, why I suggest that is that there are more opportunities in the future when you do that over the long run, and you get um, access to all sorts of opportunities. So, you know, I'm sort of teaching you how to make friends and influence people, right? Like, that's basically it. How do you make friends? Right? Like, what is it that you make friends? You walk up to somebody and you become like the first person just to say, hello, how are you? And you start being chatty and you be nice. And then you go out and perhaps at one point you say, hey, do you want to go, do something? you kind of make an effort to be together. And that's what I'm suggesting. And then, with a friendship, what ends up happening is that you take turns with being generous, right? Like somebody comes to your house and then you go to their house. And, um, you know, over time, you build a stronger relationship, right? And this is what I'm saying. If you are just genuinely nice and you repeatedly do this and you have people that are just not nice in your life, well, cut those people out and don't focus on those people, and you just be you, where you're just a nice person. And what's going to happen is in the long run, the sourpusses don't get as many opportunities. They don't. People don't like them. Everybody knows that they're sourpusses, and yeah, they might like be so much more efficient, and they might look like they're superstars, and all of that kind of stuff. But in the long run, what ends up happening is that the people that have an open heart, they're genuine. You could tell that they're just nice souls. They have a lot of ethics and integrity. People just like to navigate and gravitate towards them over time. They do. Like that's what happens. I don't want to be around. Imagine here's another thought experiment that I've talked about, right? Like, imagine you go to a store and somebody comes in or you go to a store and you buy something from them and it's just shitty quality, right? Like the thing that you buy is just terrible. And you go back to return this thing, you're like, this thing doesn't work, it's broken, it sucks. And they're like, nope, sorry, you bought it. Like, you're just like, I just walked out the door and came back in and I realized that this is crappy. And they're like, nope. And then guess how you're going to feel after you have that transaction? You're going to be like super upset. You're going to be like, this is the biggest bullshit thing ever. And you're going to be like livid. However, if you replay this transaction, right? So you bought this thing, it's crappy. You come back and this store owner, well, first of all, the store owner discloses to you before you even buy it. It's like, yeah, you know what? It's pretty shoddy. It doesn't work that well. I'd love to give it to you for a better price, but I can't. But there's all these other things. If you go to this other store down the street, they might have some better product. But you know what? If you still want this thing, we have it here. So you go away and you come back. You go away and try to find this other thing. You can't find it, and you come back, and the store owner's still there, and you're like, hey, I would like to buy this from you. And you're like, and the store owner's like, are you sure? It's not the best, but it gets the job done. You're like, okay, we'll buy it. How do you think that transaction is going to go down, or how are you going to feel? They're going to be like, yeah, the customer's going to be like, you know what? I trust this person. I want to come back to the store again, and I actually want to work with them, right? So the way that this goes on, right? Like this is this is very true about everything in life, right? Like unless it's a one-shot transaction, which excuse me, I'm so sorry. I was deathly ill this week. I had a fever of 103 Fahrenheit, which is like 40 degrees Celsius. And it was a pretty tough few days, but I'm getting better. I'm back in the saddle again. So, anyways, what I'm getting at is just imagine that the world is growing, and you don't have to take from anybody else. It doesn't matter. If somebody takes from you, yes, it hurts. We've all been there, and people are jerks. There's lots of natural jerks out there, but you don't want to deal with them, right? Like what you want to do is just be nice over the long run. And what's going to happen is that in the long run, people are going to identify you as a nice person. They want to actually work with you. They want to like do things because you're just genuinely nice. Like remember that. Like you don't have to be anything else. You just have to be yourself and be nice. Hey, if you're a naturally jerky person, be that like naturally jerky person that has that sort of gruff exterior, but everybody knows that they're actually a really decent human being deep down inside. those people I really enjoy too. But I don't like hanging out all the time. But I get them, right? Like I get them. So just remember that. Just try to be a decent person, and you'll realize nobody's taking from you. You're only growing, and the world's growing around you. All right, take care, and have a wonderful day.